Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Lone Rowsdower. Now, special guest, occasional visual artifact appearing right above the N and E there because of the fan. Anyways, there it is. Hey, how's it going? Oh, my little sidekick. So, uh, basically, what I noticed after watching parts of my episode 1 is that I failed to utilize any aspects and stunts. I think I got caught up in the narrative, which is totally fine. Makes sense. It is fate mixed with the D&D attributes, but not really a problem. I shouldn't see it as a negative. It's just some more character building or some backstory building, which I think is appropriate. Anyways, this one we're going to focus on a step-by-step process. We're going to try to use the aspects and stunts if we encounter any problems with our trusty um, Rowsdower, the Lone Rowsdower, and his horse, Horse. Now, after rewatching The Final Sacrifice, which this whole short campaign one-shot is inspired from, Rowsdower did have a wife. In his truck, there's a picture of this lady who we assume is his probably widow. So, that does kind of tie into what I talked about in Rowsdower's backstory. Now, Satoris is the name of the low voice cult leader, and the cult, I believe the name of it is just led by Satoris, but they're looking for the city, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Ziox. It's Ziox. I'm gonna call it Ziox. Um, I believe that's mistaken. That's not pronounced. That's not how it's pronounced. But just for the sake of this one shot, we'll call it Ziox. The cult is known as Ziox. Now, are they looking for that city, to bring it back? That we'll reach that in the end. But again, Rowsdower here, Zap Rowsdower, is a former member of the Ziox, and um, we talked about already. He was punished for his betrayal of the cult, and the Satoris found his home, burned it alive, burned everyone alive, left him to watch them burn, and mistakenly left him to live. So now he's out for revenge in a way. I have my cards here. We have our deck. We're not using the cards I drew already. Those will be absent. Well, they'll be discarded, because we want to keep this, keep it fresh. I can't. There may be duplicates. Isn't that right, visual artifact? So let's go to the table. We'll continue. Basically, we left off. We're going east, looking for the cult that destroyed that village. So we're kind of avenging the innocent. We have a +2 boost from. I think it was just because. Oh yeah, we saw the emblem, and that's how he knows it's definitely the calling card of Satoris. So this is we have day 2 essentially, the Lone Rowsdower 2. Today is March 1st, and here's our kickstart here, going east, looking for Cult Ziox with +2 boost. So, I'm assuming some time travels. We reach a new location of interest. I'll put it up here. A swamp. Okay, so location, star, LOC, location, swamp. All right, so we're at a swamp. Here's our character card. Again, our aspects, we're going to try and use those a bit more often in this episode. Reluctant hero with dark past. That was pretty much the summary of the last episode. Haunted by fire, regret, questionable judgment. I kind of used that in the last episode. Knows the wild roads plus worst places. That might come in handy in this episode. Gruff protector of the innocent. We somewhat tried to do that in the last episode, but that character fled. Again, my mistake not using it as a clear boost, a +2, in order to help that female character, at least ensure her that we are not the responsible party for who destroyed her village. We're here to help. Can you give us some directions or some evidence of what happened, or in recall of who you saw? helpful information. But again, I failed to include it as a clear aspect, and we're just going to have to let that thread loose. We also have hardened +2 to defend against physical stress. That we're going to use that obviously if we encounter any opponents. And then seen cults before, +2 when dealing with cultists, secret societies, etc. That's pretty obvious. We inadvertently use that a handful of times. So we're at the swamp. Let's draw a card to see what the situation is for the Lone Rowsdower. And I'm drawing a card here. Looks like a bell haunt. So Rowsdower is on his horse. He is heading east, and he hears a bell. All right. So we hear that bell in the distance. I don't think we're obviously at a settlement. This being a dark fantasy, that visual artifact pissed me off. Or more so just bothering me. But we're not really at a settlement just yet. We're in between areas of interest. So the swamp, we hear this bell. And in this card, there is a spirit in it. So not just the bell, but we actually have a spirit. It looks like it's holding something of relevance. So it says here, you can hear they're tolling only when your debt is due. So there's a haunting happening. There's something that is making that bell sound. And I'm going to draw a card for what is causing this bell. And I think it is a giant swamp monster. So we have our first legitimate encounter. So he is going through the swamp slowly, cautiously. I think he's smart enough for that. That's most likely a passive aspect of his. Knows the wild, so he knows not to just get off the horse and, oh, look, a swamp. He's not that stupid. He's keeping himself on the trail off of the actual swamp. And he hears a bell. It's a sound. It's probably a familiar sound. I think this creature that we're looking at, that you guys are not looking at right now, but this creature here, I'm going to say a swamp creature, which is not the DC Swamp Thing. That is DC, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a swamp creature who has some kind of telepathic abilities to lure in victims and eat them alive, eat them whole. So this creature, the swamp creature, is hiding obviously in underwater, and the bell sound is a familiar sound to Rowsdower. Maybe it's just from his past. He likes the sound of like a church bells or something, just some very redundant sound that's calming to him. So maybe that tries to pull him in. So we'll have to roll here so that he can resist this bell, because he's familiar with this area. Even though that bell sounds familiar, logically, why is there a bell sound in the swamp? It's this creature. So he knows that there's something trying to draw him in order to, well, turn him into a buffet of Rowsdower. So we're going to roll here. Remember, I'm still using the Power by Apocalypse method of dice resolve. So this will be something with resisting mentality, a mental attack. So I'm going to say wisdom. There's no saving throws here, so wisdom probably is maybe constitution. I'm going to say constitution. So +2 for that. Now, we can't use any stunts here, but knows the wild, the worst places. Maybe he's taking this shortcut. So we're going to spend a fate point to resist. That's a +2. Now, I don't think the +2 here, the scene boost that we're tracking, I think that can only be used. I guarantee I'm going to forget about that, so I apologize ahead of time. But this boost here is strictly for anything that has to do with the cult. We're using an aspect from our character sheet here that he knows the wild. So we're getting essentially a +4 total on this roll. And because it's Powered by the Apocalypse, I cannot go beyond 5. So essentially +4 is the most I can do for our character here. Because think about it. You roll 2d6. 6 or less is a fail. If you have +5, then that's a 6. So, no, actually, no, that's yeah, you can't do more than a 4 because you roll 2 dice. The lowest result's a 2. So +5, that's a partial success. What's the point of rolling dice? Well, partial you can debate on that. But again, 4 is the most you can do because that's still a 6 failure. So we're going to stick with the +4, and let's see what happens on this. So 5, 6, 7, and then that's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11. That is a standard success. Okay, so he is able to resist that calling, the bell, to lure him into the swamp. So does, I think a partial success would have been he resists, but the monster still attacks. I think he's able to get away fast enough for the monster not to jump out like a alligator and, you know, eat his grab his feet or grab the horse, unfortunately. So I think with a standard success, he's able to get away. Now, if it was a critical success, I think he would have been able to get far enough away from the swamp. Like we would have cut through the swamp already. But because it's a standard success, he is out of reach from that monster, but he's not out of the swamp just yet. So you see how I'm trying to use the range of successes empowered by Apocalypse for this narrative. Trying to at least drive certain situations and the results at the end of the roll. So that's how I'm perceiving it. Okay, so let's write down that he's able to escape the creature to an extent. We didn't really go into specifics how escape the creature. So I'm going to just put a little it's there. Escape the creature. And now we are still in the swamp, but let's lose these 2 cards here, and let's see what else happens. So I'm going to draw another card here, and it looks like he sees a waterfall. Okay, so waterfall. I think what he's going to do is maybe he's at the edge of the swamp. He's near some clear water, so perhaps we did reach a safe spot to just rest. I'm not really marking stress here or anything, but narratively, I think Rowsdower just needs a little, just splash his face with water and just recollect himself. Maybe that bell sound did kind of affect him mentally. Now, I'm not using the other 2 fate flavors. Condensed, I think condensed and core have the mental stress. We don't really mark that here. There's no mental stress box. It's just a standard stress and the consequences to follow. Or you can soak your damage with consequences like a permanent injury, etc. So yeah, there's a waterfall. He just washes his face and he gets back on the horse. He checks his belongings, make sure everything's good to go, no problems. Now let's ask the Oracle. While he's doing this, he's kind of exposed. He is he's vulnerable to be attacked. So let's ask the Oracle if anything happens. Well, let's just roll the D100 here and ask the Oracle. Does anything happen here? I'm going to say 60% chance. Yep, something does happen. Now, doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. So, okay, he's at the waterfall, which is kind of a sub-location compared to the swamp. So, waterfall, he's just resting for a bit. Again, he is exposed. We're going to draw a card to see what happens. I'm thinking either drawing a character card or just one of these generic cards here. Okay, a Titan Brawl. So, something... Okay, so... 2, there's a fight going on. Titan Brawl. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Something is happening. I don't think this is a fight that may impact Rowsdower directly. Maybe this is a fight between 2 wild animals. Oh, his horse! Right. Something fights his horse. So again, he's just splashing his face with water, and then he hears his horse not gallop away, but like raises his hooves in the air, and something startles his horse. Let's go with that. Now let's see what startles his horse. Again, Dark Fantasy, I think these character cards kind of match up here. So our 4th card, a blade. Oh, there's my head. Hello. Something. Oh no, did something kill the horse? No, a blade. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I don't think this was the correct card to draw. I might have mixed this in with my characters. So I have these split. So again, locations, characters, and all the others, like metaphors and figurative cards, like what they're called. Instance, I think. I could be mistaken. I don't play the game that much. But I'm going to disregard this card. I'll put it in the item. Yeah, because I might mistakenly put in there But yeah, here, we need a character card. Okay, so here we go. Uh, looks like we got... That's another instant card. Are these out of whack? Whatever. Um, something startles the horse, and I think... Let's see, the Skell raises scorn poles in conquered villages. Cursed. Curse. Something startles the horse. It does say village. Let's draw one more. Might be a little too much. I'm going to disregard the village one, but maybe I'm going to keep that one in mind. But I do like the Titan Brawl. A knight. Oh. Maybe the knight? There is a... Okay, well, thinking for Mystery Science Theater, the episode, what would be relevant to a knight? I mean, we had swamp creatures. There was no swamp creatures in Mystery Science Theater in that actual Final Sacrifice movie. But there is a character I'm thinking about that startles the horse. So, from the episode, the actual movie of Final Sacrifice, Rowsdower and Troy McGregor run into a cabin, not appears to be abandoned after being chased by Sartorius and company. But there is a certain someone who is a friend of McGregor's father, who was killed in the earlier parts of the movie. Troy's father, I forgot his name. But Mike Pepper, he is this, the jokes about this guy are hilarious. Pepper partner. It's great. I recommend watching, watching the whole Final Sacrifice episode. Mike Pepper, again, this knight, it doesn't have to be a knight. It could be Mike Pepper. I think this could be him. Kind of an odd spot to find him, but maybe his cabin is out in the swamp. And I don't think Rowsdower knows Mike Pepper. Because we don't have Troy. He's not part of this, he's not part of our team just yet. He's not our sidekick. I don't know if we'll run into him or not. I don't know if I'll introduce him in this actual episode. I'm trying to keep things grounded to Final Sacrifice with the fantasy element every so often, like the swamp creature. So I think it's Mike Pepper. I mean, I want to ask the Oracle roll some dice here, but it makes some sense. Startles the horse. Mike Pepper's not exactly the most appealing person, but the horse is used to Rowsdower's appearance, and he looks like a hockey brawler, so or a goalie for hockey. With the mullet, but I think that makes sense. So let's say it's Mike Pepper, and Mike stumbles out of the woods, the swamp, and walks up to the horse, and that startles the horse. So it's not a Titanic brawl, but the brawl represents the horse's reaction. He gets startled. So Mike Pepper appears for the first time, and he startles the horse. Startles the horse. Okay, so we have a new character here, Q, Mike Pepper. I'll underline his name, something I need to remember to do. There we go. And, okay, so Mike appears. So, why is he there? Well, let's draw some cards. So, this knight card will be Mike Pepper. I'm going to draw out these cards here. We're still in the swamp, so that card stays in the field. And Mike is here because of something... You know what? I know exactly what it is. Okay, so I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to look through the deck, and there is a certain something we drew earlier that I put back, regrettably. You know, here it is. The blade. That's not the card exactly, but it is a knife. So again, that knife now makes a little more sense after we developed this scene a bit more. Because originally the knife, like how the knife startled a horse, because someone's wielding it, and that someone, I think at this point needs to be relevant, and it's Mike Pepper. So Mike Pepper, Rowsdower is trespassing on his land. So this is how Rowsdower meets Mike Pepper compared to the Final Sacrifice episode. So he still meets him, but just a little different. So Mike Pepper has a knife, and he draws it on Rowsdower because Rowsdower is trespassing on his property. So Rowsdower is trespassing, holding a knife. Okay, and the horse gets startled. Rowsdower turns around and sees Mike Pepper, who again he has this giant like not just messy hair, big beard. He's dressed in shaggy clothing, brown clothing. Looks like Santa Claus almost, and yeah, he's walking up to. He shouts at. Let's see how did Mike Pepper sound? This I apologize for unintentional laughter I may conjure, but what are you doing in my land? What are you doing in my swamp? And he's holding a knife at Rowsdower. Rowsdower does this. He's like, whoa, whoa, hold it, hold, and then the horse is startling and steps back a bit. What are you doing here? How'd you get here? How'd you find me? And again, Rowsdower. Now, let's roll to see if he recognizes Mike Pepper. Again, earlier I said that Mike Pepper, Rowsdower might know him, but I want to see if the dice allows him to be known. It allows Rowsdower to know who Mike Pepper is. Maybe reputation, what do you call it? Precedes him. So, wisdom is a +1 for this. We have the 2 dice here. Now, of course, again, let's use one of our aspects. So, knows the wild, that might apply here. Reluctant hero, not really. Seen cult before. That might apply. +2 in dealing with cultists. Maybe he thinks Mike Pepper is a cult. I might fudge the story here. I don't recall if Mike Pepper was actually part of the cult with Troy's father in the Final Sacrifice episode. I think they were friends or scholars or researchers, something like that, archaeologists, and the cult just happened to stumble on. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to use that possible belief, I guess, that Mike Pepper might have been also a former cult member. So let's use that toward maybe Mike Pepper is just delusional. He doesn't have the best memory. So a roll dice, we're using a stunt, so it doesn't cost a fate point. So +2 for the cult. I'm going to save my fate points. I'm going to use the aspect that he knows the wild, etc. And yeah, so we have a +3 total on this roll. That's a 6, 7, 8, and then a 9, 10. So a standard baseline success, not a partial, nothing extraordinary, but Rowsdower recognizes not his appearance, because he's covered by a lot of hair. He looks like a wizard. Actually, Mike Pepper's hair in the episode is kind of like an afro almost, kind of like just grown out like this, like it's a wig clearly. So yeah, he recognizes the voice. So Rowsdower lowers his hands as Mike Pepper's like, "You gotta get out of here! I'm gonna gut you like on the fish." And Rowsdower's like, he again, standard success. He says, "Pepper, is that you?" And he leans in a bit. Mike Pepper lowers the knife. "How do you know my name?" And Rowsdower says, "It's me, Rowsdower, Zap Rowsdower." And Mike Pepper, well, let's see how he responds. So I think with the standard success, that allows him to respond saying that he recognizes Rowsdower. So he lowers his knife. His eyes almost widen. It's like, he goes, "Rowsdower? Zap Rowsdower? The Lone Rowsdower? You're alive?" And he's amazed he's alive. He thought maybe Rowsdower's dead. Betrayal. Maybe Mike Pepper has his own story why he left the cult, etc. So Rowsdower puts the knife away, and let's see what he does. I'm going to draw a card. So again, let's write this down because a lot just happened right there. So Rowsdower recognized Pepper, and so did he. Okay, so things are calm right now. Okay, Pepper lowered the knife. Let's draw a card. So the blade's gone. Again, this knight card is Mike Pepper. Let's draw a card to see what happens. I may or may not use it. Okay, Eagle of... Oh, all right, so... This could be good. This is positive. Bird, eagle flying up in the sky, this might be some hope. I think this is just a simple sign of good fortune, a good omen. So maybe a bird just flying over. Just Rowsdower catches a glimpse of a bird flying over. I'm going to write that down. I don't know if that will be significant later, but just a little star here. Bird flies over. And Mike Pepper, um, the the bird's not relevant to Mike Pepper. Rowsdower just happens to glimpse the bird. So Mike Pepper walks up to Rowsdower. He grabs his hair, like checks his cloak out. He's like, "That's Rowsdower. I thought you were dead. I thought Satoris got you." And then Rowsdower looks down, and then obviously this will be a moment of, oh, compel. This is a great moment of compel. So Pepper says, I thought he got you, but just kind of some triggering words, like reminders of the past, of what Satoris did, tortured Rowsdower for betrayal, etc. This will be a compel of this high trouble, which is he's haunted by fire, regret, and questionable judgment. Dark past. There's a couple things I can compel. You can even compel your high concept if you want, but trouble, I'm going to compel. So this gives our fate point back, which we still get the back at the end of the session or the start of the next session, but we have a refresh at 3, so we're back at 3, and he doesn't break in tears. He looks down and he leaves himself open for question. He's like, he kind of explains what happened. He says, I escaped. I fled for years. Family, of course, got to me. Blah blah blah. And Mike's like, let's not talk here. Let's go. Let's go back to. I have I've got a cabin up north from here. Come on. Let's go. You grab your horse, grab your belongings, and go. Okay, so they're gonna leave the swamp. He says, we'll talk more. Let's go back. And Rouser was like, look, I'm looking. I think. So, I can't really say time. I know that for a fact that Satoris is back. He just pillaged a village down the way west from here. I'm tracking them. I believe they're going east. And Pepper, now let's see if Pepper knows, because again, Pepper knows this is his land. Quite the real estate, in my opinion. This is his land. Maybe he has information on or has knowledge of of anyone crossing through. So let's ask the Oracle. Does Mike Pepper know that Satoris crossed through his swamp? I'm going to say a 75% chance. That is a yes. Took him a second. Again, the difference between 75 to 62. Yeah. Took him a second. He's like, they did cross through here. And again, I recommend you come with me back to the cabin. I recommend you come back with me to the cabin. I might have someone to help you. So, Rowsdower agrees. At first, Rowsdower feels it's a waste of time, but they're going to head back to his cabin. So let's write that down. Okay, so let's see here. Maybe that is a tracker for, maybe that bird is a companion of Mike Pepper's. Okay, we're kind of fusing fantasy here with the final sacrifice. So, Pepper, underline that. Pepper knows Colt passed through. He takes him to cabin. Okay, so this is still in the swamp. I don't think I'm going to draw a card of a cabin. Nope, I just drew a random card and looked at it, not a cabin. So we're still in the swamp. So I'm going to draw these 2 cards away here. We're going to disregard them. And we're walking up to the cabin. Okay, so on the way to the cabin, let's draw an Oracle card to see if something happens. Again, this is dark fantasy. Shit can go south. So let's draw a card here. This will be a random instant card, maybe, perhaps. Okay, so, all right, so we have a general monster. It's a golem. That works fine. Okay, so Mike Pepper and Rowsdower are startled with the horse. They are ambushed by a golem. Fine. Let's do an actual encounter that will go somewhere. So, golem encounter. And the golem has, let's say, has 2 stress boxes. Okay, simple. And we're going to roll. Rowsdower obviously takes the wheel and he's going to attack first. Mike Pepper is probably not a fighter, but I'm thinking maybe there's some Home Alone stuff happening here. That this area, it being Mike Pepper's land, is booby-trapped. Maybe. We can ask the Oracle there. That's a question for the Oracle. Let's ask the Oracle. Is there a booby trap? 50% chance. Yes, that's almost a strong yes. That's a very good yes. So there is a booby trap. Okay, so the golem pops in. Rowsdower pulls out his round. Let's see. We have scarred round shield and a worn long sword. Okay, so Don't typically track items in Fate, but you sure can. Okay, so he's ready to fight. The trap throw, though. Mike Pepper says, wait one moment. And the golem is, again, just like as you guys see here, it's walking out to our team, and then the trap is triggered. So let's see. Let's put a little arrow here. We have a trap. And let's see what the trap is. I'm going to draw a card. And it is a... Well, this looks to be like a thief or a human werewolf. It says bound. It looks like it's a cell door. So maybe something catches the golem and traps him. Like a cage drops. Now, what the hell? A cage drops from the ceiling or from a tree branch. The golem triggers a tripwire, and freaking a cage drops down on a net and catches the golem. Well, does it work? Let's see. I'm going to be rolling just for Mike Pepper here. There's no bonuses or anything, so let's just do a flat roll. A 9, partial. Okay, so the trap does work. The golem gets hurt, but it breaks free. So partial success with the golem, allowing us to attack first. So then Rowsdower jumps in. The trap, slightly worn out, but it did work for a bit. So Rowsdower is on the strike, and this is going to be actually a competing roll. Okay, so we have the blue dice is going to be for Rowsdower, red dice is going to be the golem, and we have a bonus for physical attacking. We're not defending. One of our stunts is +2 to defend against physical stress, but this is not defending, we're attacking. So we're going to attack with our sword with a +3 on strength. Here we go. And, oh, well, thankfully for that bonus, +3, we have a 10 against an 8. So that is a difference of 2, which means it is a standard hit. And that should be enough, I think, to not kill it, because it's not a step. It is a... where's my little rules here? There it is. So, this, again, I have my little fate rules here. Not a shift. So, again, 10 to 8 is not a shift up. It's a minor cost. It is just 1 or 2 shifts. I think a shift is 3 or more. Not mistaken. Actually, I could be mistaken. Yeah. It's not a tie. It is a succeed. So my apologies. It is a shift or 2. It's 3+. Actually, success with style. No, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. 10 against 8, that is a success. No cost. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this card close by actually. So he just kills it. There's no bonus. Took me a second there. Okay, he kills the golem, and congratulations. You know, okay, and he's able to get past the golem. So golem's defeated. So we take away these 2 cards here, and Mike Pepper maybe says, "You haven't changed one bit. You're still good with the sword." And Rowsdower puts his weapons away. Says, "Hurry, let's make our way back, or let's make our way to the cabin." So they get to the cabin. Okay, so trap is done, the golem is defeated, and we are now at the cabin entrance. And that is where I will end, but I'm going to draw a card for a little cliffhanger. See what happens when he gets to the cabin. Huh, a soldier. Someone's there or a flag. Maybe it is... You know what? Viewers, I want you to tell me what you think this card should represent in the next episode at the start. Simple start. We reached the cabin. We definitely had a very entertaining episode, in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed. But I'll leave it to the audience here. Audience, what is your diagnosis? What do you think of this card? He's, again, Rowsdower and McPepper are going to the cabin out in the woods, and which is a movie, and this card appears. What do you make of it? Pause it. Let me know what you think happens. Is it bad, good, symbolic, literally? Like, again, there's a guy here with a flag, or with their what do you call it, emblem. And yeah, so that's really it for this episode. 34 minutes, not too bad. Hope you guys enjoyed. This was very good. I am glad we kept things moving. We used our aspects and I think mainly just aspects. Yeah, but again, I unfortunately didn't use them in my last episode, but I'm glad I used them in this one. So that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. And as always, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.